Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space, created weekly, is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey, you guys, what is up? I did it. I ran my first DEKA event. I told you I'd survive. There was definitely moments where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. My feet hurt. I want to just lay down face on the floor, all the things. But I did it, and it was amazing. And of course, I have incredible stories and things to share with you from this amazing weekend. Speaking of which, the Becoming Your Strong moment of the week is going to come from one of the athletes that attended this past weekend. So I posted about her today on my Instagram stories and feed. And if you have not checked out the video yet, you should definitely go and do a such. But her name is Jamie, and she is nothing but a freaking warrior. Jamie had a stroke about 5 years ago in November of 2019. And ever since then, it's completely altered her life. She doesn't have full strength, movement, range of motion on majority of the left side of her body. And over the last 5 years, it's just been a battle and a commitment and perseverance to therapy and strength training and just trying to work back to a place where she doesn't need a harness to help travel her places and hold her up. Like, guys, she couldn't even stand for more than 10 seconds. Like, she has truly come such a far way. And she came to me when I started working at Pursuit back in January. And she's like, look, I've wanted to do a DEKA for quite some time. And then I had my stroke happen, and it's been so hard to build back to that. I know I can't do certain things, like I can do them to the best of my abilities. I can't do them at full weights, but I'm just curious if there's any possibility that I could just at least try and do whatever it is that I can do. And I was like, absolutely. Like, we will adapt in whatever way possible to make it a thing for you to be able to have your moment, to earn whatever that mark looks like for you. And so her trainer, Katie, and her have been working relentlessly over the last month or so to get her to this point. And she stepped on the course for the first time. And guys, like, I have goosebumps, and I definitely shed a couple of happy tears just throughout her entire run. Like, the support and the love was so deep between all of the competitors, the Pursuit family, her family that showed up. Like, it was just a crowd of people that throughout the entire 45 minutes that she was out there, like, just consistently with smiles on her face, cheering her on, clapping. It was absolutely amazing. But she was a warrior, and she made it through all 10 zones. And I just want to say, she did majority of those 10 zones to standard. She did all 500 meters on the row. She did all 500 meters on the ski, all 25 calories on the bike. She did a 7-level resistance on the tank. She didn't have all the weight that was loaded on the tank, but still she pulled at the same magnetic resistance that any other open female would pull at. Like, she hit a good amount of standards that day at some of the weights that were asked of her. She did the sit-ups with the 14-pound ball with one arm. Like, it was freaking awesome. And we got to celebrate her. And I just wanted to share this story to highlight this fact of how you get to choose to make the most of what life deals to you. It also reminds us to not take things for granted. That stroke could have ended things for Jamie, truly. And even though she doesn't have the full strength and capabilities that she once did pre-stroke, she's not going to waste what she knows she has. It then kind of brings into question for the rest of us of like, what's the excuse? What's our excuse? Is it really valid? And it makes you think hard about the things in your life that you're passing up because of these excuses that truly shouldn't be an excuse, that shouldn't be holding you back. So just hats off to Jamie this weekend. I am so stinking proud of you if you're listening to this, and you deserve this. I can't wait to watch you try again in April if you're choosing so, which I I have a feeling that she's going to choose to, because she had the biggest smile and the most joy throughout every single second of that race. And I know that she's hooked and she's going to come back for more. So congrats, Jamie. All right, let's jump into the topic of this week. And just to give you some context of where this is coming from, it was Friday night and I had gotten there, right around 9 a.m. on Friday morning. I didn't leave until almost 8 p.m. on Friday night. I was on my feet for basically the entire time, minus the team meeting that was about an hour. And I was so tired. My back was starting to hurt from the amount of lifting and bending over and cleaning and just overall preparing that I was doing. And I was carrying the box of shirts and medals to just the sports performance area. And I sat them down on the table and I looked up and I saw the big Pursuit Fitness sign. And I just was like having a moment where I was like, how in the hell did this happen? After knowing the mountains that I've climbed between what I've done with my weight loss journey to during COVID, deciding I was going to leave my 6-figure corporate career and start from zero and build a business in fitness, to switching from Ninja Warrior to DECA, to uprooting my life in Thornton to start a new job up here in the Windsor area and move in with Dave. Like, I just am thinking about all of this and just how I'm feeling and everything that's in my life, from the jobs to the relationships to the kind of athlete that I am to the relationships that I have with family, like all of the things. And I just feel so aligned and so at peace with where my life is at. And I truly feel like I'm living out my purpose. And that's a very special feeling to have. If you've ever had that before, it's like you're floating on a freaking cloud. And I'm just thinking, like, how in the world has this happened? Because, I know I've worked so hard to get here. And I also am very knowing that I deserve this. But I'm still just in that little bit of shock of just how everything has fallen into place almost too perfectly. When, like, maybe a year ago, I was wondering when things were ever going to happen for me. Like, when would I have my moment? When would I find the boyfriend of my dreams? Like, when would I finally make enough money to just not just survive from month to month, but actually be able to invest in adult and live life in the way that I've wanted to live it? Like, when would things actually freaking happen for me? And they are. And it's insane. And I just wanted to get on and talk about the key things that I believe have helped me get to this point, that have helped things in my life fall into place the way that I've always desired them to. So the first thing that I think has really, I know has helped things fall into place for me is doing the work internally. Everything started with doing the work internally, and it's never left. That habit and awareness of continuing to put in the personal growth work has never left this entire ride through. Since the moment in that dressing room, since the moment that I was laying on the couch and my mom asked me to go on a walk and she's like, let's do this. And I was like, I'm too lethargic and depressed to get off the goddamn couch. Never have I ever forgotten that asking yourself the hard questions and answering them as honestly as you can and taking that answer and running ragged with it, really going deep into it. I've never forgotten those skills. Guys, I had to dig so deep so many times in my life to ask myself those hard questions. And I've had to pair it with the courage to do that every single time. And that ultimately led me through different experiences that have built me into who I am today. And with each experience, I get a little bit of something else added to my character, added to my tenacity, added to my perseverance. And with anything that comes my way, it's like, I know I can handle it. I might be afraid. I always experience some sort of fear or bubble guts, but I'm like, I've made it this far. I know I can trust myself to do this. So I'm going to just take the step and know that everything's going to be okay. Truly trust that everything's going to be okay. I couldn't have done that 5 years ago. There's no way. Absolutely no way. To give yourself that sort of power is the most amazing gift that you can give yourself. And so if you are not taking the time to do the growth internally, to, again, whether it's from asking yourself the harder questions, genuinely answering them, to doing personal growth work, like whether it's reading more books, listening to more podcasts, going to conferences like Tony Robbins, like that was such a transformative experience in my life. I highly recommend that that's where you start. That should be the main thing that you're focused on versus all of these other things that I will say. Because you truly can't love and empower yourself to do the big things until you fully get to know yourself and trust in yourself first. I believe in that. And so you have to find that trust through getting real with yourself and doing the work. So that's the first thing that I really believe has helped me get to this point in life. Another thing is just being okay with your goals and wants being ever changing, and knowing that you don't have to stick to this end all be all plan, because it's terrifying when you're like, I'm going to go set out to do this goal, and you actually take the leap of faith, and then you realize that it's probably not going to happen in the way that you wanted it to happen to, and you feel like you're this failure. And I hope just by saying this that you don't have to stick to the end all be all plan, that you just have this courage now to just try, because there's no failure in doing that. There's no failure in taking a step and realizing that, hey, this just wasn't the right move for me, but now I have so much clarity in what is. There's zero failure in you going down a rabbit hole, learning a ton of things that you can probably apply to your next venture. There's no failure in that. There's no failure in you going through the rough patches on a journey that might lead you nowhere. But those moments end up building your character for the journey that leads you somewhere. I've always told myself that goals are just compasses to a general location, and what I actually get versus what I originally set out to achieve might be different. But the outcome that I got was truly meant to be, and I feel so good about that. And I'm so proud of myself for taking the step in the first place and not attaching myself to this expectation that I have to achieve the exact thing that I set out to do. So maybe it's time to remove those expectations a little bit. Maybe it's time to just listen, become aware, become open-hearted of what your wants and goals are in this season of life, and be okay if that's not the same that it was maybe even a day, a week ago. Give yourself the chance to just explore that. And hey, if it's not the right thing, great. Then why was it not the right thing? Ask yourself those questions. Get deep in the weeds on what the answers to those are. And be like, that maybe wasn't it, but I wonder what this is. Get curious about what you love again. It's such a fun freaking journey to go down once you start to build that curiosity and allow for it to happen freely. The next thing that I truly believe has helped me get to where I'm at today is to ask questions without expectation of the answer. Ask questions without expectation of the answer that you are going to get. This is so much easier said than done, but I've built up this habit to just ask for help, to ask, can you tell me more about that? I have no idea what you're talking about. To get curious again, whatever that is. I've just built up this habit. And all these habits have helped me get just a tiny step further than if I would have not said anything at all, if I would not have expressed my heart, my thoughts, my mind. And by doing that, I've had game-changing conversations and opportunities come my way. For example, I reached out to Kevin in December of 2023 after I went to Deca Worlds. The day after, I just felt it on my heart of I need to reach out to this guy. I'm so doubtful that I'm worth his time, but I just feel that I need to do this for me, and there's something bigger at play here. I reached out to him. I asked if he would coach me, and he took me in. And a year later, he made me a freaking 2-time world champion. I told him about my goals to be a coach that works with high-level athletes, ideally within the hybrid racing DECA space. And he said, I want you to come to be an extension of my brand. I want you to be a coach for Underdog Fitness. And now I have 7 incredible people that I get to work with on a day-to-day basis of helping them reach their finish line in the way that they want to. I shared with him just a couple months ago how I was potentially looking to make a move job-wise when I made the decision to move from Thornton into Longmont with Dave. And all of a sudden, he got a random call from someone out here in Colorado working at Pursuit Fitness. And he was like, have you met my friend Kayla? She's going to teach you everything you need to know. And one thing led to another. And all of a sudden, I'm now a trainer and DECA coach, the main person that handles everything at Pursuit Fitness, with the amazing opportunity and potential to do big things personally and professionally. Guys, this is not just random happenings. This is me being so intentional about asking the question and not fearing what the answer is. By simply stepping into vulnerability to ask for help and share my thoughts, I'm receiving everything and more that I've wished for and turning that into reality. And this is where I want to leave you today, is with the last thing. I've talked about the universe a lot, and whatever you believe in, whether that's a God of some sort, just the bigger universe, whatever that is, something happening that's bigger than yourself, a force. I talk about this a lot, and I always preach about how it's always working to teach you a lesson that will build you into the person that you are capable of becoming. Life is always happening for you, never to you. It might be good experiences, it might be bad, but it's always happening for you, not to you. The universe isn't the reason, you guys, why I'm successful. I'm the reason why I'm successful. I looked at all of what was happening in front of me. I became aware that there was so much opportunity out there for the taking, and I just took that responsibility and ownership of my life to make the most of it, to become successful. And because of my awareness, because of my openness and courage to act, that's why things are falling into place for me. The opportunity and outcomes you want are already out there. You just have to go seek them. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today, and I hope that this episode truly helped. If it did, be sure to rate and review the podcast, share it with friends and family. You know the drill. But thanks again, you guys, for always taking this journey with me, and I will see you guys next week for another episode of Becoming Your Strong. See you then.